Beware. This message may have found you for a reason. Don't skip. Listen carefully, because something hidden has been unfolding behind the scenes, and the signs have been growing stronger with every passing day. There is a person whose energy around you has not been what it seems. At first, everything appeared normal. The conversations felt ordinary. The encounters seemed harmless. But deep down, your intuition has been trying to tell you something. You've felt it before. That strange feeling you couldn't explain, the hesitation that appeared out of nowhere, the sense that something wasn't completely right. Stay till the end, because what you discover could change everything. Lately, God has been placing obstacles in your path that didn't make sense at the time. Delays. Unexpected changes. Missed opportunities that later revealed hidden blessings. What if those moments weren't setbacks at all? What if they were protection? Sometimes divine guidance doesn't arrive with clear answers. Sometimes it arrives through closed doors, unexpected detours, and instincts that refuse to stay silent. While you've been searching for explanations, a greater force may have been quietly steering you away from a situation you couldn't fully see. The most surprising part is that this person may not appear dangerous on the surface. In fact, they may have earned your trust. They may have presented themselves as someone supportive, someone familiar, someone who seemed to have good intentions. But not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay there. Some people arrive to teach lessons. Some reveal truths. And some expose the importance of listening to your inner voice. What happened next changed everything, because the mask you've been seeing may not be the whole story. Think back to the moments that felt strange. The conversations that left you drained. The promises that never seemed to match reality. The situations that created confusion instead of clarity. Those weren't random experiences. They were signals. Small warnings that your spirit recognized before your mind could fully understand them. This changes everything because the answers you've been searching for may have been in front of you all along. Stay till the end because the biggest realization is still coming. God doesn't always remove people immediately. Sometimes He allows their true nature to reveal itself over time. Sometimes the lesson is not about fear but about awareness. The purpose is not to make you anxious but to help you recognize your own strength, wisdom, and discernment. The name that shocks you may not be shocking because of who it is, it may be shocking because deep down, you already suspected it. And now the truth is becoming harder to ignore. The signs are getting louder. The feeling in your heart is becoming clearer. The protection you've been receiving is becoming more obvious. What once seemed like confusion is beginning to make sense. The question is no longer whether you've been receiving warnings. The question is whether you're finally ready to trust them. Because the moment you do, a path that was hidden before may suddenly become clear, and the reason for all those delays, detours, and unanswered questions will finally reveal itself. Don't skip this part, because the message is becoming even more important now. What you're about to hear is not about fear, it's about awareness. It's about understanding why certain events have unfolded the way they have and why the truth has been revealing itself little by little instead of all at once. Stay till the end, because what happens next changes everything. The protection surrounding you has been working quietly, even during moments when you felt completely alone. While you were questioning the delays, the confusion, and the unexpected changes, something greater was happening behind the scenes. The man you've been thinking about may not realize that his actions have already exposed more than he intended. Sometimes people reveal themselves through patterns rather than words. A promise here. A contradiction there. A feeling that something doesn't add up. The strange thing is that every time you tried to dismiss your concerns, another sign appeared. Every time you convinced yourself that you were imagining things, another piece of the puzzle surfaced. Listen carefully, because this is where the story takes an unexpected turn. Recently, an energetic shift has begun. Whether you noticed it or not, the situation is no longer moving in the same direction it once was. What remained hidden is slowly coming into the light. What seemed confusing is starting to make sense. And what felt like a setback may soon reveal itself as a blessing in disguise. This isn't happening by accident. The truth has a way of surfacing when the time is right, and that time may be much closer than you think. What happened next changed everything. The distance, the silence, or the separation you've experienced was never meant to weaken you. It was meant to strengthen your ability to see clearly. It gave you the space to notice things you couldn't see before. It allowed your intuition to become louder than outside influences. And now, as the fog begins to lift, you're starting to recognize details that once escaped your attention. Details that point toward a truth that can no longer be ignored. Something huge is waiting for you, but it may not be what you expect. The greatest blessing isn't discovering who was wrong. The greatest blessing is discovering how protected you've been all along. The situation that once caused stress is beginning to lose its power over you. The uncertainty that kept you awake at night is slowly being replaced by clarity. And that clarity is opening a new door, one that wasn't visible before because you were focused on the door that was closing. As this unfolds, the man at the center of this story may begin to realize that you are no longer seeing him through the same lens. The influence he once had may be fading. The questions that once troubled you may be receiving answers without him saying a single word. That's the surprising part. Sometimes people reveal themselves most clearly when they believe no one is paying attention. And sometimes the truth arrives not through confrontation, but through quiet realization. Stay till the end because one final revelation is approaching. In the coming days, a conversation, a discovery, or an unexpected moment could confirm what your intuition has been whispering all along. When it happens, trust yourself. Trust what you've learned. Trust the wisdom you've gained from every challenge, every delay, and every unanswered question. Because this chapter was never meant to break you. It was meant to prepare you. And as the truth continues to unfold, you'll understand why certain paths were blocked, why certain people couldn't stay, and why divine protection was guiding you even when you couldn't see it. The biggest confirmation may still be ahead, and when it arrives, you'll realize that everything was leading to this moment. Don't skip this part, because the story is reaching a turning point that few people see coming. Listen carefully. The signs you've been receiving are no longer subtle. The questions that once filled your mind are beginning to form a picture, and the picture is revealing something important. For a long time, you may have been waiting for certainty. Waiting for proof. waiting for that one moment that would explain everything. But what if that moment is closer than you realize? Stay till the end, because the final pieces are starting to fall into place. There is a reason your spirit refused to fully relax around this situation. Even when everything appeared calm on the surface, something inside you remained alert. You tried to be understanding. You tried to see the best in everyone. You gave the benefit of the doubt more than once. Yet the feeling never completely disappeared. That feeling wasn't there to create fear. It was there to create awareness. It was there to prepare you for a truth that was slowly making its way into the light. What happened next changed everything. A hidden pattern is becoming impossible to ignore. Things that once looked like coincidences now seem connected. Conversations you barely remembered suddenly make sense. Moments that felt insignificant now carry a completely different meaning. The more you look back, the more you realize that life was giving you clues all along. Not to punish you. Not to scare you. But to help you see what your heart already knew deep down. This changes everything because the focus is no longer on the man. The focus is on you. On your growth. On your ability to trust your own discernment. The greatest lesson hidden inside this chapter is that your intuition was never working against you. It was working for you. Every warning feeling, every moment of hesitation, every unexplained sense of caution was part of a larger effort to guide you toward clarity. And now that clarity is arriving, whether others understand it or not. Something huge is waiting for you. But before it arrives, there is one final test. The test is not whether you can recognize the truth. The test is whether you can accept it. Sometimes the hardest thing isn't discovering reality. The hardest thing is letting go of the version of reality we hoped was true. That is where transformation begins. That is where freedom begins. And that is where your next chapter quietly starts opening. As this chapter closes, you may notice a shift in your energy. The weight you've been carrying feels lighter. The confusion loses its grip. The need for constant answers begins to fade because deep inside, you already know what you need to know. The truth has a strange way of bringing peace, even when it arrives through difficult realizations. And the peace that's coming toward you is stronger than the uncertainty you're leaving behind. Stay till the end because the final revelation is this. The protection wasn't only about saving you from the wrong person. It was also about leading you toward the right path. Every delay, every closed door, every unexpected detour carried a purpose you couldn't see at the time. One day you'll look back and understand that what felt like rejection was redirection. What felt like loss was preparation. And what felt like confusion was actually guidance. The chapter isn't ending with fear. It's ending with clarity. And as a new door begins to open, you'll realize that the greatest miracle wasn't the warning itself, it was the fact that you were guided safely through it before it was too late. The final revelation. And now we've reached the moment this entire journey has been leading toward. If you've listened this far, then this message was never meant to find you by accident. There is something your soul has been sensing for a long time, something your heart recognized before your mind could fully understand it. The confusion, the delays, the unanswered questions, and the unexpected turns in your path were never random. Every step carried a purpose. Every challenge carried a lesson. And every warning carried a form of protection that you may only now be beginning to understand. Listen carefully, because this is the final revelation. The name that shocked you was never the true focus of the story. The real message was about awakening. It was about learning to trust yourself. It was about discovering that the voice inside you is stronger than fear, stronger than doubt, and stronger than any influence that tried to pull you away from your path. What once felt like uncertainty has become clarity. What once felt like confusion has become wisdom. And what once felt like a burden has become one of your greatest sources of strength. This changes everything. Because from this moment forward, you will not see things the same way. The signs will make more sense. The patterns will become clearer. The lessons hidden inside your past experiences will begin revealing themselves one by one. And as they do, you'll realize that you were never abandoned, never forgotten, and never walking this path alone. Even during your darkest moments, guidance was working behind the scenes, placing invisible barriers between you and situations that were never meant for your future. Stay with me for one final moment. There is a new chapter approaching faster than you think. A chapter filled with greater peace, stronger boundaries, deeper wisdom, and opportunities that align with who you are becoming. The door that is opening ahead of you is far more important than the one that closed behind you. In fact, one day you may thank God for every delay, every disappointment, and every redirection because they led you exactly where you needed to be. So as this message comes to an end, release the fear. Release the confusion. Release the need to understand every detail. Some answers arrive immediately. Others reveal themselves with time. But one thing is certain, you are moving forward, not backward. You are stepping into greater clarity, not deeper uncertainty. And the protection that guided you here will continue to guide you wherever you go next. Remember this, not every closed door is a loss. Not every goodbye is a tragedy. Sometimes the greatest blessing comes disguised as a warning. Sometimes the greatest miracle is the path you never had to walk. And sometimes the very thing that tried to stop you becomes the reason you discover your true strength. The story may be ending here, but your next chapter is only beginning. And what happens next may be the blessing you've been waiting for all along.